Hi, this is Ned Siegfried from Siegfried and Jensen. As proud sponsors of BeliefCast, we hope you are inspired by Todd's weekly podcasts, which contain so many courageous stories of recovery and personal growth. Remember, it's not what happened in the past that matters, it's what happens in the future. We invite you all to work hard and be optimistic about your future. Enjoy today's podcast.
Okay, everybody, we are back. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Inspires Belief Cast. Thank you for tuning in week after week. You guys are fantastic, and I want you to know how much I love and appreciate your support. It's been fantastic. I need to give a shout out to our sponsors, Siegfried and Jensen, Wasatch Recovery, iHill Institute, Veracity Networks, and Living Interventions Recovery. You guys are amazing. We also have some private donors that didn't want any credit, which I thought was really cool. They just love the cause. And so a shout out to them. I'll send some energy out in the universe for them. And today we're joined by the best-selling author of True Grit and Grace, Turning Tragedy into Triumph, Amblery Lago. Amblery, thank you for joining us.
Todd, thank you so much for having me. I love your show, and to get to be here with you on your show and connect with you and your audience is truly an honor. So thank you.
Well, thank you too. And our listeners today are in for a big treat. It's going to tug on your heartstrings, and you are going to be surprised of what you're going to hear today. But little background on Amblery. She is a peak performance coach, TEDx speaker, podcaster, a leading expert in the field of resilience and transformation, and the founder of Unstoppable Life Mastermind. Amblery creates a resilient company culture, empowers employees to collaborate and connect, shows them how to see things with fresh eyes, and shares how you can bounce forward and work smarter, not harder. She shows you how to create an advantage out of adversity and thrive and not just survive, which I love. She builds grit, inspires hope, fuels passion, uncovers your superpower of resilience. Amblery has most recently been featured on NBC's The Today Show, The Doctors, Hallmark, and featured in magazines such as Shape, Fit Pregnancy, Yahoo, Health Magazine, Keynote Speaker Magazine, and Disability Magazine. She is a wife and a mother. She is a miracle. She has been through so much, and you guys, you're in for a treat. And, behind me, I've never done this on a podcast, but I'm going to point at this quote on my wall behind me that Amblery can see. And it's by Ferdinand Foch, and it says, "The most powerful weapon on earth is the human soul on fire." Amblery is on fire. And you guys are just going to love what you're going to hear today. It's going to change and shape your life in a way that you weren't expecting. So, Amblery, thanks for being here.
Well, I'm getting all teary-eyed. We haven't even started yet. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're going to make me cry. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction.
Yeah,
and
you bet.
Again, I'm grateful to be here. And it's funny when you were reading the bio, I am an expert in resilience only because I have failed and fallen and messed up and so many times. And so for you that are listening, I think sometimes when you hear a bio or that somebody's done something, it seems like, oh, wow, well, they're lucky. Look at them. And it's like, I just want to say it's been a journey.
Yeah, sure.
And to be here with you today is a miracle. And I don't take that for granted. I'm really grateful.
I know you don't. And I share this with my clients all the time, that life happens for us, not to us. And you are a living example of that exact statement. And you've been through so much. And one thing I want to state, and I want to point this out, and we have some mutual friends here that live in Salt Lake. You're coming live from Texas right now. And every single person that I know that knows you says this, and I can feel it already, just how kind you are. Oh. Like, you are a kind person, despite the tragedy and the struggles you've been through. You're kind.
Thank you.
You probably hear that a lot.
No, I mean, I don't know. Again, you're making me get all emotional. Well, before we started recording, I was like, oh, I'm so glad to be here. I got lost. We just moved to Texas and I was rushing around. I've been getting lost a lot lately here. And it's been a great way to find kind people around me. There's a lot of nice people. And I think that I really appreciate when someone is kind.
Yeah.
It just changes your whole day, And so,
Yeah, it really
yeah,
does.
I really try to be kind because it shifts the energy wherever you go.
Yeah.
And it's just something that gives me joy when I can see, ever since I was a little girl, ever since I could see that I could make a difference in somebody's day just by doing something, kind or being kind. Doesn't cost anything to do that, and we can all do it. So whether
Yeah.
it's, the other day when we first moved to Texas, we were in the drive-through at Starbucks and we paid for the guy's coffee or whatever behind us.
Oh yeah.
And we had pulled over, and this guy in this truck pulls up, and he rolled down a window, and I'm like looking over, and he goes, "Is it you?" And I said, "What do you mean? Is it me? What do you mean?" He goes, "Did you just pay for my coffee?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that was me." And he's like, "Thank you so much. I had a really hard day." And that was so nice. But I had done it and kind of moved on to the next and forgotten about it. And we were, trying to figure out how to get back home to our new house. But it made me happy that made his day. So those little acts of kindness, and you don't have to buy coffee for anybody. I mean, you can open the door or just ask somebody how they're doing. But
exactly.
I was saying, people in Salt Lake, my friends there are the kindest people, like my true blue friends. We know Tiff Peterson and Brooke Hemingway and Randy Garn and so many amazing people there.
Great people. Yeah. Well, it's great to have you on. Why don't we start with, tell us where you grew up, Amberly, and a little bit about your childhood.
Okay. Well, I grew up not far from where I am right now in Texas. I grew up in a really small town called Greenville, Texas, and it's grown a little bit bigger now. And, my mom divorced when I was 8 and remarried. And so that was pretty tough. Had, brothers and one sister. But it really got tough when I started getting sexually abused by my stepfather.
Oh,
Which,
wow.
you turn to adults and someone you trust. And then when they do something that in your gut is not right, but they tell you it's right, it teaches you as a child to not trust your gut.
For sure.
And it's taken a lot to learn to trust my gut again, because your gut never lies.
Right.
But I knew at a young age that I wanted more out of life. I wanted more than that small town. There's nothing wrong with a small town, but I just felt like I didn't fit in. Like I was the black sheep. I didn't want to do what everybody else was doing. And thankfully, I had dancing and athleticism to really get me out of that shame and the pain that I went through from the sexual abuse. Just to have that outlet. And I think my default was to do whatever I could and the more that I got better grades, the more that I won all those track meets and the dance competitions. When I went to this dance convention in Dallas, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be on stage dancing just like them. And then, of course, MTV came out, music videos, and I thought, wait a minute, you can get paid to dance. I could get paid to do what I love. And so I thought, well, we didn't have the money to take a lot of dance classes or anything like that. So I did whatever I could to work. And I knew from a young age that I was going to have to work and save up enough money if I wanted to move to California. So I started working at like age 9. I was babysitting. Wow. At age 13, I started teaching dance. At age 16, I was working at the mall. I was a lifeguard. And by the time I was 18, I had saved up $1,200. And I knew when I graduated from high school that I was going to pack up my little Suzuki Samurai and hit the road. And that's exactly what I did.
Oh, it's funny. I used to drive a Suzuki Samurai way back.
You did?
In college. Yeah.
They were fun. Those things would flip, man. They were fun though.
Yeah. Well, so man, I mean, you went through some sexual abuse as a child. I mean, again, we're not to go into all the details there, but I'm sure I mean, how did you find that strength, even as a child, to again, to pursue the dream and go, I got to start saving money and work hard? And how did you manage that? And did you have help back then going through that?
No, I didn't actually.
Wow.
I remember, when you go through something like that, there's this deep pain, but there's this horrible shame that comes along with it, that
Yeah. Right.
they tell you, you feel like you're the bad one. You just feel icky. It feels horrible. And, my stepdad had a degree in psychology, and the mental things and the games he would play with me, and he would tell me that I'm going to kill your mom if you say anything. And so
Oh my
I
gosh.
believed him. And so
Yeah.
carried around secret, but I also never felt safe in my own home. So I never wore a bathing suit in public around him or anything. I
Mhm.
never wore
Yeah.
my dance lid tart around him. I always wore big baggy clothes in front of him.
Yeah.
And I remember, there was one night just sitting at the kitchen table, and he had his back turned towards my mom was doing the dishes. And he said, he would say things like, "You just wait until your mom leaves." He would
Oh
mouth
my
it. And so
gosh.
there was this
Wow.
constant fear, a fear of, what is he going to do to me next? What is he
Yeah.
going to do to my little brother? What is he going to do to my mom?
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I think I was about 13, and I went to my dad, and I told my dad, I said, "Dad, please, you got to promise you won't tell anybody."
Yeah.
And I told him what happened, and he didn't tell anybody, and he didn't do anything.
Oh man.
And years later, after I had written in my book about it, which was the hardest thing to write about, it
Yeah.
really healed my relationship with my dad, because he
Yeah.
didn't know what to do. He didn't
Right.
know. And he said, "I'm so sorry. You told me not to tell anybody, so I didn't." Well, it was really a cry for help.
For
And
sure.
at
Yeah.
that point, when I didn't get help, it was a gift to me, because I knew at that point it was up to me to take care of myself.
Wow.
And the next time my stepdad came into my bedroom, and he grabbed me, I'm getting kind of graphic, I guess, but he grabbed me by the hair and pulled me down on the bed, and I kicked him and I fought him as hard as I could. And the look on his face when I fought back, that was the last time he ever touched me. And it
Wow.
was not only my passion for wanting to dance and
Mhm.
pursue my career, but it was also a gift and a sword, if you want to look at it that
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
that there was no way I could stay there because it was not safe for me. So I was going to get out of there. I had to go somewhere. And so
Right.
that pain pushed me along, and my passion fueled me and I was like, I'm going to make it. I
Yeah.
didn't have a lot of people that believed in me. I didn't have parents that were like, "We're going to go with you to California and set you up in a nice little apartment." And I remember my stepmother said, "I think you're making a big mistake." And I remember, my mom saying,
Mhm.
"Why are you packing everything? You're going to be
Right.
back in a couple of weeks." And
Right.
so I didn't have a lot of belief in me. So
Okay.
I had to believe in myself. And I think that's really important, that that belief has to come from you.
Yeah. Wow. I'm a huge believer of what you just said. I mean, our beliefs dictate our behavior. And I also say this a lot: adversity is the wake-up call to our greatness. And you had, I mean, unfortunately, some people turn the other direction where they'll go and close off and isolate, but yet you're like, you know what? Okay, I don't have the support, but I am going to go do this. And man, what a decision that was for you at that time. And well, you really are the poster child for resiliency. you know,
Oh,
it's amazing. And little did you know what maybe this was preparing for you for your other challenges ahead, right?
yeah. I mean, I think everything that we go through prepares us for everything that we're destined to be and do. And sometimes in the moment, we have no idea that what we're going through, because it's so hard and
Yeah.
painful or shameful or challenging, but it does build resilience. Every failure builds resilience. Every struggle builds resilience. And going through those tough times, and I think it's really important to hold that vision for yourself, because if you know where you want to go, when you go through the valleys of just hardship and tough times, you can keep your eye on that vision and go, okay, this is just a hard moment. And if I really want to get to that next level, I just need to put one foot in front of the other and keep moving forward. And so, when I first got to LA, I mean, thank goodness, ignorance is bliss, because I had no idea like what I was in for. Coming from a small town.
Oh yeah.
I was a pretty darn good dancer. But when I got to LA, I remember walking into the front of the room like, I have arrived. I am ready for dance class. And they kicked my butt. Let me tell you, it's like 80 years old. And she walked around the room with this big stick that she would bang on the floor. And she told me, she screamed at me in front of the entire class and was like, I am going to cut your arms and legs off and throw you out the door if you don't point your feet better. And I remember going, wow, oh my gosh, my dance teacher in Texas didn't talk to me like this. And I left that ballet class and went around the corner of the building, and I knew no one. And I remember crying and having that talk with myself and being like, Amberly, you better pull up your bootstraps. If you really want to be a professional dancer, you suck. You're going to have to work harder. Like I was like, I had to say, and that's when I realized, and that it's not necessarily about the talent. It's about how hard you work, how often you show up, the kindness that you show. Because you know what, Todd, I showed up every day after that. I went into the very next dance class, and let me tell you, the ballet teacher was kind of surprised to see me back after she threatened to cut my arms, legs off. But I showed up, and I kept showing up, and I kept showing up. And 1 month later, I had this goal. And I thought, if I can keep showing up, they're going to have an audition in a month for a scholarship program. And I can't afford dance classes in Los Angeles. And I need an agent, and I need to get better. So I can just keep showing up to dance classes. Maybe they'll notice me. Well, they did notice. And I got on scholarship. I was the worst one on scholarship. And at the end, I was awarded for, I guess it was most improvement.
Oh, okay.
Dancing every single day, 7 days a week. I had 3 different agents that wanted to represent me. And then my dance career began.
That's amazing. Again, there's that resilience again, right? And you pulled yourself up and said, okay, I got to do this. And no wonder you called your book True Grit. You're a gritty woman. I mean, seriously, I love that. Well, so you're in LA. We'll kind of jump ahead here now, and I love what you've shared so far. But I want to get into, correct me if I'm wrong. You married the love of your life. You just had a baby, if I remember correctly, and then you had something tragic happen in 2010. And so why don't we just kind of pick up from there and just kind of tell us what happened and share this this tragedy of what you went through.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I had, had a very successful career in dance, and then transitioned and was sponsored by Nike. I was doing infomercials. Wow. I'd worked with Body by Jake. I mean, I was on. Yeah, he's awesome. And, you would go into any Rite Aid or CVS, and you would see vitamin labels with a picture of me and my daughter on the label. I had several trainers that worked for me. I had a very successful business. And yes, finally, after 2 failed marriages, met the man of my dreams. And I kind of thought, wow, life is good. This is good. I'm living the California dream. Like all that grit paid off,
Yeah.
And I had just ran 11 miles, trained some clients, and it was a holiday weekend. And I jump on my Harley. I'm on my way home, and it's just one of those beautiful California days, and wind blowing through my hair.
Yeah.
And this SUV shoots it out of a parking lot and crashes right into me, T-bones me. I'm thrown 30 feet or sliding across the asphalt and not knowing if I was sliding into traffic or where I was going.
Oh my gosh.
And feeling immediate pain. And when we stopped, I looked down at my leg and it was broken into pieces. And I remember if I let go of my leg, there was blood everywhere. And I started cussing, and it's fine because I was cussing. And then I thought, oh, my Methodist mom wouldn't be proud of that cuss word. Wow. I can't believe I just said that. And then I was like, oh, wow, I have some pulled pork in my backpack. And this is my husband's brand new backpack. There's going to be pork everywhere. And I'm worried about my husband's backpack, my mom.
Wow.
Then I'm thinking, oh gosh, I might have to train clients on crutches for a while. Like I was worried about everybody else, my clients, my mom, my husband, cussing, like all these things. And I'm literally dying. My femoral artery is severed.
Wow.
I didn't know at the time, but I was bleeding out. I had this guy that he saved my life. He came over right away and made a tourniquet around my leg. I was rushed to the hospital. It was ever seen him cry. He's a first responder. He's a lieutenant commander with a highway patrol. And so I'm used to him. He's a big, tough guy, and he was freaking out. And I thought maybe this was it, that I was going to die. And I thought, oh gosh, I need my husband to pull it together. I need to make sure he's going to be okay to take care of our kids. And I yelled across the room, honey, I need you to get over here and be strong for me. Ooh. And the room got dead quiet.
Yeah.
And that was the last thing I remember before they put me in induced coma, because I was literally, I'd lost so much blood. They couldn't control my pain. And when I woke up from a coma is when I learned that they were going to have to amputate my leg. I had a 1% chance of saving it. And that is when the journey of healing truly began.
Yeah. And I know, you didn't obviously want to lose your leg, and that 1% chance, you're like, I'm going to take that chance. And I want our listeners to know you still have your leg. But obviously you went through, I think, what was it, 34 surgeries after that on your leg?
34 surgeries. Now, had I known it was going to be 34 surgeries, I might've been like, you know what, just go ahead and take it.
Yeah. Take the leg.
Take it. I'll skip those surgeries. But I just heard you have a 1% chance. And I thought, oh, well, and the one doctor we found, and I got transferred, and months and months in the hospital, and, thousands of hours of excruciating physical therapy. I have my leg, but I do still have a lot of pain. And I feel like pain's been my biggest teacher to be better, and you can heal and grow and teach others along the way.
Yeah. Well, and that pain, is that the CRPS that you've mentioned?
Yeah.
And that stands for complex regional pain syndrome, which is like considered the worst pain anyone can go through. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I thought, okay, I've got this, my leg's crushed. It was basically, the doctor said, like a saltine cracker that you just took in your hand and crumbled. And so the bones were it took actually 2 years for the non-union in my leg to grow back together. So I was walking on a metal plates and then a rod for 2 years when I could finally do some weight bearing stand up on my leg. And, about 3.5 months later, they had told me that it was going to take me 2 years to walk again. And I was like, oh, really? Well, I will show you. I am going to walk. And as soon as they told me I could do weight bearing, I was like, I was not completely weight bearing, but I was upright on crutches, which was very painful. But I was like, I just want to be upright.
Yeah, right.
And I remember going into a doctor and thinking to myself, he's going to be so proud of me. And I walked in and got the worst news of my life. He took a look at me, did a checkup, and he was like, you have something very serious. And I was kind of like, yeah, I know I got hit by an SUV, but can we get on with this appointment? Like, I know it's pretty serious, but like how much longer until I'm running again? And he said, you've got complex regional pain syndrome and your life is never going to be the same.
Wow.
There's no known cure, back in your wheelchair. And I was like, okay, for how long? And he's like, forever. There is no known cure. You are going to be in pain the rest of your life. and
oh my goodness,
disabled, probably have to wear orthopedic shoes. And I was like, heck no, I'm not wearing orthopedic shoes. Like I was like, so no, 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 no. I cried all the way home, and I didn't go back home and get in my wheelchair. Instead, I got home, switched cars with my husband, went straight to physical therapy. And Terry, the physical therapist, was like, Amberly, what are you doing here? You don't have an appointment today. And I said, I know I don't, Terry, but I just learned something, and I'm going to have to work harder than I've ever worked before if I want to have the life that I have imagined, that I vision for this vision I have for myself.
Yeah.
And I was at that PT so much that I actually have a key to the place. They gave me a key to the facility. They're like, okay, here's your key.
Yeah.
Just come. It's your new home,
Yep.
And it's been a journey. Oh my goodness.
Can't even imagine.
Ketamine infusions. I'd never done a drug in my life. Ketamine infusions to try to reboot my nervous system.
Right.
Anybody that is listening that has any kind of nerve pain, I know you get it. It's like this pain that's almost untouchable. For me, it's like a vice grip on my leg and a burning, like battery acids in my veins. And
oh my God.
Spinal blocks, spinal stimulator, ketamine, nothing was working. I mean, I was on 73 homeopathic pills a day and 11 different prescription medications. And I was really, anybody that would say, oh, I've got something that'll treat your pain, I was like, really?
Yeah.
Let me buy it. Let me take it. Let me do it. And nothing was working. And that really got me into trouble with drinking, because I started drinking wine. And I was never a drinker. There's a lot of alcoholism and addiction in my family. And I always thought, well, I'm going to be different. I'm not like them. I'm going to do something with my life.
Right.
And lo and behold, I remember having a glass of wine going, wow, why didn't the doctor just tell me to have a glass of wine to kind of ease that nerve pain, to help me stuff down these feelings of unworthiness and inadequacy and the shame, because I'm scarred, like deformed now on my right side and from the hip down. And to go from being this fitness model doing infomercials to completely scarred and deformed, and your body doesn't work the way it was, just in every kind of pain, physically, emotionally, spiritually, I was broken. And I was like, nothing's working. Screw it. I'm just going to drink. And let me tell you, I remember thinking, well, this isn't the healthiest thing to do, but if this is what I have to do to get by and to help with the pain, I guess I'll just do it. And that worked until it didn't. And my life came spiraling down quick. And all of a sudden, I had kind of this double life of everything on the outside. I was trying to hold it all together and pretend like I was okay. And I didn't want people to know that I was in pain. I didn't want people to see that anything was wrong. I would try to cover up all of my scars and try my best to walk without a limp and try to like fit in with the other moms. I remember when my youngest daughter went to a new school thinking, I'm going to try so hard to walk without a limp because I don't want anybody asking me any questions. I just want to fit in. I just want to be normal, whatever that is. I just want to be normal. I was trying to get my life back. And I think that when we go through something, one of the biggest lessons I've learned is that resilience isn't bouncing back, and it's not going backwards and trying to fix what's broken. It's really moving forward and choosing the courage to reinvent yourself, to open your mind up, to do new things. Because when you're constantly trying to fix what's broken or go back to the old, you can't see these big, huge opportunities in front of you. And so I don't think it's going back. I think it's bouncing forward and moving forward with grit and giving yourself a lot of grace along the way.
Wow. I love that. That's very well said. And I think that's amazing advice. And I love that. There was a time where I think you talk about where you got on your knees and you prayed. Will you talk a little bit about that and how your faith has kind of helped you again, move forward and bounce forward and to reinvent yourself, so to speak.
I remember we were in this tiny little rental house because we were remodeling our house at the time. And I was, like I said, trying to hold it all together. And there was a moment and I thought, I know you share a lot of like vulnerable stories here. So I'm going to be completely transparent with you because this isn't something I've shared a lot.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
I remember taking a swig of vodka straight out of the bottle. Like I just needed to get out of pain as fast as I could. So forget the glass, I was like, the bottle was in the closet and I was taking a swig and it was like I caught a glimpse. How did this happen to me? How did someone who was so successful end up like this? And then I got into that whole victim mentality. Like, I was like, how did a good girl like me end up here? And I thought, okay, I've got a choice here. I'm going to kill myself. And then I understood why they called CRPS the suicide disease, because a lot of people kill themselves either quickly when they realize they're going to live the rest of their lives like that, or they slowly kill themselves like I was doing. And I was slowly killing myself every day. My spirit, physically, my liver enzymes were elevated 300 times the normal rate.
Oh, my
I remember going for a checkup and the doctor called me. The doctor never calls. You're lucky if you get a call from the nurse or the front desk. The doctor called and he's like, do you drink? And I'm like, oh, occasional glass of wine here or there. And I was like, well, your liver enzymes are saying something totally different, And so I kept getting these wake up calls, but it was the moment that I got down on my knees and I prayed for God to help me. Please, what do I do? I mean, I get emotional just thinking about it.
Yeah. Wow. And
I still pray every morning, sometimes throughout the day, several times a day.
Yeah.
And it was like, we're not meant to do hard things alone.
Yeah.
And I had a client that I knew that was in recovery. Boy, I was so embarrassed, so ashamed. It took every ounce of courage for me to go to her and say, gosh, I need help. I think I have a problem.
Yeah.
And she said, you know what? I'm going to help you. I'm going to take you to a meeting. And I waited around for about a week and I never got a call. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. I need help now. And so I Googled recovery meetings and I was like, man, Google was awesome because I was like, I need a time when my husband's at work and he's not going to know about it.
Yeah.
And my daughter's in school and I found a meeting. And Todd, I went from sneaking my drinking to sneaking going to recovery.
Wow.
Because my husband was a cop. And when I had mentioned that I had a problem, he's like, you don't have a problem. No, my wife does not have a problem. I arrest people that have problems. Anybody would drink if they knew what you were if they were going through what you're going through and have to live in the pain, they would too. But I knew deep in my heart, I was like, no, this is not me. This is not the life I want. I need help and I need help now. And I showed up to a meeting that was a recovery program. And I sat in the back of in a corner in between this girl with a cowboy hat and a nun. And I was like, where the heck am I?
Right. Where did I go? Yeah, man.
And I heard hope. Everyone shared. And I heard people share my story, not exactly my story, but it was so similar. They did the same things. And I heard women who had gotten through the other side. And I thought, okay, I got to keep coming back, as scary as it was. And I had to sit on my hands because at this point, I hadn't had a drink and I was having tremors. I'd become physically addicted to alcohol. And I kept going back and I went to other meetings and it was scary. And I didn't know that you weren't supposed to share every week. I was just like raising my hand. Yep, I need help. Yep, I need help. And asking for help saved my life.
Wow. That is amazing. And again, I chuckle because again, it just reminds me again of the resilient person that you are and that grittiness you have. You're raising your hand every week. Oh no, I'm sharing again. you want to figure this out. And so, wow. And I love what you said, asking for help saved your life.
It's scary. I mean, it was so scary. I had this mentality, growing up where, it was like, suck it up, get her done, hide your crazy and be a lady. Like, you just, in everything I did, growing up with a mom who, she's amazing. I love my mom and we have a great relationship, but she's a Southern belle. And it was like, you don't show your pain. You don't talk about it. You don't share your vulnerabilities. My dance teacher would say, I don't care what's going on in your life. I don't care if your dog just died or you lost your best friend. When the needle goes on the record and you turn around to teach your class, you put a smile on your face and you get her done. And so my whole mentality was like, just keep going, keep going, keep going. Don't acknowledge anything. Don't share. And I could, suck it up only works so much.
Right.
And you have to let those feelings come up, or for me, it was like I was pushing them down. It was like this springboard and they all came up and I was like, oh, okay. I think I cried for the first year going to meetings. I still cry a lot. I didn't cry for years and now I cry.
Yeah.
And, my poor 13-year-old, she'll start crying. And my husband, who's all like tough, he'll be like, suck it up, girl. She's going to need parents like us. One saying, suck it up. And another one like, cry, come here. Let me put your head on my shoulder. Come on over here.
Right. Yeah. We probably need a good balance of both, right? There's times where we do have to suck it up, but there's times where it's good to have a good cry, I know you're really big on gratitude, and talk about gratitude just for a minute here and how that's been really helpful. I really believe gratitude is the most powerful stimulant on the planet. And I know that was a big part of you, working through this. Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah. You know what, Todd, I think that gratitude is what really saved me mentally when I was in the hospital. So when I was in the hospital, laying in the hospital bed, my leg was completely exposed and it was held together by they would have to come and replace the bandages and they would rip them off the inside of my leg. And it was so painful. I remember one night laying in bed, because I never slept. I would just look at that clock waiting for them to come, and laying in bed, and this infomercial came on and there was this beautiful girl dancing on TV in a bikini. And I started thinking, oh my gosh, what if I never wear a bikini again? What if I'm all scarred up? What if my husband never loves me? What if I can't run? What if I can't chase after my kids? What if I lose my leg? What if what if I die? I was just spiraling into this depression and despair. And I remember thinking, wait a minute, I got a choice here. I can focus on that, or I can focus on what I'm grateful for and what I do have. And somebody brought me this little notepad in the hospital, and I started writing down everything I was grateful for. I mean, every nurse that came in to see me, my clients that were coming in, that were bringing me food, for the window, for the view that I had in the hospital, that I had breath, that I was alive, like everything and anything I could think of. I started writing down what I was grateful for. And so I noticed it shifted my mindset on what I could do and what I did have. And it's such a powerful tool. It's alchemy. It really changes your life. It really is.
I love that. That just gave me chills. It's alchemy. It changes the molecules. It changes the frequency. It changes all of that. What and it seems so simple, like, all I have to do is write down what I'm grateful for. And we hear it all the time. Hey, gratitude is like so amazing. But here you are proving to us, who's listening to this, what it did for you in that moment. And I love what you said. It saved you mentally, being there, looking at your leg and seeing what you're going through. Wow.
I had to focus on what I could do. And so one of the things that, I was like, okay, well, I can't get out of this bed. I couldn't even use the bathroom on my own. But I was like, okay, well, what can I do? What am I grateful for? I'm grateful I can still move my arms. I still have my mind. I still have my faith. I still have some hope. I asked the doctor to bring me a pull-up bar. I could do some pull-ups, and I had a pull-up bar installed over the hospital bed, so I could do some pull-ups in the hospital bed. I had a friend bring me some dumbbells. So I was grateful for all those little things, but I also did what I could to keep my upper body strong. So everything that I could do mentally and physically. And, it's something that I still practice every day. I have a group of my best friends, and we call ourselves the God Squad. And we are like a squad, and we got each other's back, and we write each other 10 things every day that we're grateful for. And we have this app that we use that makes it a little easier, because it's one thing to think about it, but then when you're writing it down and you're sharing it, it really gets you to express it, to share it. Then when you read what somebody else is grateful for, well, that can shift your whole perspective.
Wow. And I love the part of sharing. I think that's where the real power is. And I mean, that's what you're saying is, I know when, like, if I share kindness with someone, it's 10 times more powerful for me that I did that because I shared it. Right. That's kind of what you're saying. Oh, I love that. Well, you did a post on your Instagram, recently. It was called the 10-year challenge.
I'm like, oh gosh, what did I post? Sometimes I post stuff and I'm like, did I say that?
I left all the sketchy things out. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
But you did a 10-year challenge, and I know one of your worries is, will I ever be able to carry my daughter again? And you showed a picture of when you're actually standing on some crutches, you're showing your leg, and it's pretty mangled up. And then you show a picture of you now, and then I think she's 13, your daughter, is that?
Yeah.
And she comes running. You show a video, and she jumps into your arms, and then she says, run. And you're like, run? Okay. And then you run down the hallway with her in your arms. It seriously brought me to tears. Talk about just that transformation that you were able to carry her. How did that feel?
Well, you know what? Thank you, first of all, for even like noticing that. I had actually, I'm constantly, my stories on Instagram are usually our shenanigans at the barn and stuff that I'm doing most of the time with my 13-year-old daughter. She's like my favorite sidekick. And one day in my stories on Instagram, she ran over, my husband recorded us, and it was in my stories. And one of my friends had seen that, and she's like, that I can't believe that you can carry her now, that you should post that. So that's thanks to my friend Samantha Joy, who was like, you should post that. But I remember it took me 2 years to actually, it took me years of up and down, in and out of a wheelchair, in and out of surgeries. And 2 years after my accident, I went to Zuma Beach with my family, and I ran on the beach for the first time with my daughter, and my husband got a picture of us. And it's crazy because she's little and we have like the same stride, and I would run a little bit and fall down and get up and run again. But to be able to hold her now, I mean, it means the world, because that's something I wanted to do more than ever. People ask for my biggest inspirations. I wanted to be an example of a woman and a mom who was resilient and who would use her voice and stand up for what she wants, and who would walk again and not be a victim, but a victor of their life.
Love that. That's amazing. Well, you really are amazing, Amblery. You really, truly are. You're inspiring me. I'm tearing up every time you're talking, and, you're doing a lot of good things now. You've been through so much, but now it's almost like it goes back to that sharing part. You're now giving back of all these, hard lessons that you've learned. And you're, like we mentioned it in your bio, but, you're a peak performance coach. You've done a TEDx talk. You're a podcaster. You're an expert in the field of resilience and transformation. And you're also the founder of the Unstoppable Life Mastermind. Talk about just a little bit about what you're doing now and kind of how that's, shaped you and continues to shape you.
Well, I think that like I talked about before, I was trying to get back to doing coaching clients one-on-one because I love working with people.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, okay, this isn't working out, because my leg was bleeding out across the gym floor. That's a whole other story. I kept trying to push hard, and I'm like, this is not working out. And I remember thinking, well, what brings me joy? What do I love doing? What do I just love doing? And I would work hard and get gritty to endure difficult things to do. And that was still helping people, like being of service to other people. And so I thought, okay, well, I could still coach people. And then I started getting, calls from people saying, hey, can you come share your this school? Can you share? I was getting asked to speak at recovery houses and all kinds of stuff. And I thought, wow, I want to help people. How can I do this? And so somebody said, you should write a book. And I thought, okay, yeah, I want to write a book. Now, I didn't even own a computer. I was like, and this is just 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So doing Zooms, writing a book, all of this, branding, all of that stuff. I was old school. I got all my business through word of mouth. And so this was all new, but I was determined to share my message and turn my pain to purpose, because that brings me joy when I get to see somebody else who didn't give up because they had that spark of hope, because that's all we need. Like that one little glimmer of hope I had after, when the doctor said, you've only got a 1% chance of saving your leg. That 1% chance was enough to get me through surgery after surgery. And that's all we needed. And so now I love empowering people, whether it's through, stages or conferences or, my Unstoppable Mastermind, where it's for women who want to learn how to share their story to make an impact in other people's lives. It's I messed up a lot, a lot, because I didn't know what I was doing. So if I can save people time, energy, and money and how to get from point A to point B, then I'm all for it. I like to open up my playbook and share how I did it, because I didn't know what I was doing. And I remember when I got, wrote my book and I got a publisher who wanted it. They're like, we don't do any marketing or branding. And I was like, okay. And he goes, so if you want to get your book out there, you have to do that yourself. And I remember going, okay, how do I do that? Well, there's this thing called Instagram, and I had, a couple hundred followers, and I basically had it just to stalk my oldest daughter. And I just started posting and sharing my message every day. And I had a goal of getting from, 200 followers to 10,000. So I could do a swipe up in my story. Like I just set these little goals so I could get from point A to point B. And I just focused on that. And I really dedicated time in it every day. Cause I know, it takes commitment and determination. I mean, that. Look at you with your podcast that is got thousands and thousands, if not millions of people that listen to it. And that has been dedication and grit and perseverance on your part of showing up continuously every week and delivering value like you do. And so, I mean, I know that podcast world. I'm very inspired by what you do, because you've been doing this for a while. And so I look to you and I'm like, oh man, he's amazing. I want my podcast to be like that someday. And
I'm sure it is. Wow. That's amazing. I always like to ask this question towards the end here. If there's someone listening to you right now, Amblery, that's struggling, they're in a dark place, they're struggling with whatever it may be, whether it's chronic pain, whether it's an addiction, whether it's just they feel less than, what would you tell that one person? You've already said some great things, but that one person right now listening to you, what would you tell that person struggling?
To have the courage to ask for help. But if there's one thing you can take away from our time together today, is ask for help, because that truly changes your life. I think sometimes we feel like we're alone because nobody's going to understand the pain that we're going through, or they won't get it.
Yeah.
And people might not have your exact same situation or circumstance or story, but I will say that there's somebody out there, no matter what you're going through, whether it's physical pain, or maybe you're going through a divorce, or you're struggling with addiction, or you're just tired, or you're anxious or depressed, whatever it is, there are other people out there that are going through something similar. And there are other people out there that have already gotten through that, and they can show you the way. And so reach out for help.
Yeah. Wow. Beautiful advice. And like you said earlier in the podcast, asking for help saved your life. And it seems so simple, but it's so powerful. If we'll just reach out and say, hey, I'm struggling, I need to talk to someone, or I need that. So beautiful advice. If someone wanted to reach out to you, Amblery, and get to know you better, buy your book, maybe sign up for coaching, or, follow you, or even do your mastermind class, what's the best way for them to do that?
You know what? Reach out, text me, especially if you're out there listening and you're struggling. Seriously, text me at 818-214-7378. And I read every single message. And it's funny because some people say, Amblery, is this really you? And I'm like, I'm like, yep, it's really me. And that's why it took me 2 days to get back to you.
Yeah.
And I know like some people have assistants or teams that get back to their, but
Right.
I like hearing from people. My favorite thing from my whole journey, my book writing, everything is connection and connecting with people. And so just text me and say you heard our conversation. You're like, hey, I heard you and Todd talking and I wanted to reach out. And if you want a free playbook on how to build your resilience, just text me the word grit, GRIT. And I have a playbook that I just put together because I wanted to see how can I give something that somebody can get that's a tangible tool in their hand, to teach them my PACER method to help them be resilient and get gritty, but to give themselves some grace along the way too.
Wow, I love that. And I will put that in the
text playbook.
Yeah, I love that. And I'll put that in the show notes, and that way. And it's interesting. I was looking at your link tree and it did say in there, text me. And I thought, how cool.
It's a good way to connect because a lot of people don't do email. And so, I mean, you can email me too, and you can go to amberlylago.com or Instagram. But, I find that texting is a good way to keep in touch with people. I mean, I try to do it all, like the email, the newsletter, the social media, the podcast, and
Wow. Well, Amblery, I can't thank you enough for spending some time with us today and sharing your amazing story of resiliency and turning tragedy into triumph. You truly are an amazing example to all of us. And I'll speak for me, man. It's like, this has made me want to be better at what I do. And you really are an inspiration in my eyes.
Todd, thank you so much. This is I have really enjoyed getting to talk with you. And again, I'm so inspired by all that you've done with your podcast and what you're doing to make such an impact. So for me to get to be here with you is really an honor. So thank you. And I hope I get to see you in Salt Lake, or maybe you'll come to Dallas sometime and see us. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me know when you're in town, and I'll take you to dinner on this side. And if I'm ever in Texas, we'll do that as well.
Okay. And you're going to be surprised when I'm going to.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hold you to it. Well, yeah, I would love that. I would love to meet your family and everything. It would be awesome. So, but yeah, thank you for everything.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You bet. Well, there you go, folks. I told you this was going to be one of those amazing stories from an amazing person, Amblery Lago. Please reach out to her. You can text her. She said it already. Check out her website. Check her out on Instagram. She's doing amazing things, and it'll be inspiring. If you have a loved one who's struggling and you're not sure how to even talk to them, because sometimes that can be awkward, send them this episode and just say, hey, listen to this, and then have them follow up, or you follow back up with them. And it's a great way to break the ice. So please do that. And I love you guys. Thanks to our sponsors. And once again, Amblery, thank you for being a very powerful light in this world.
Thank you so much.
All right. Until next time, everybody.